Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being here. We're going to start with our normal sort of, I'll do a little bit of a recap of what we've done up to this point. And then, so we'll do a little bit of an overview of last week. What you're seeing right now is tonight's agenda. Again, the topics this time we're going to go into really talking about the Strive On app. Bill's going to get into a lot of detail in terms of what the next steps are going to be in terms of how to move forward. Make sure that any questions that you're asking can be moved forward with that. Then I'm going to come back and talk a bit about where we go from here. And that's, how do you connect things like the topics for your company description on your business plan to the information that we've collected up to this point. Going to emphasize the fact that I'm going to suggest some things for topics that are based on what we did at SCORE, but those aren't necessarily the topics, the categories that you have to use in your plan. And then we'll go on from there, okay? So last week's meetings, I reminded you that, and Bill, you've got shared control, so if you can admit people if I don't do it fast enough.
Will do.
I reminded you of why you want to use what you've learned in customer discovery and how it can possibly make your plans a little bit better. And I'm going to keep on harping on that because that's the whole key to what it is that we're doing here. Customer discovery allows you to be able to have a better sense of what we assumed was going to work for our business, but what actually works with the business. And it's what helps you continuously improve your overall plan and your strategy. Alexis Gomez was our winner of the Go Deeper drawing last week, but she wasn't able to be here because she's participating in the Spark program. And the Spark program is another one of those great programs in the community. It's at St. Mary's College, and they are focusing in on helping women businesses get going, get started, growing. And so again, she'll hopefully we'll be able to get an opportunity to be able to learn more about Lexis's program, her business, and the things that she's been doing. And then Paula Sowers was not able to join us as well. Paula has been one of the key people that's been working with us through this program, but she's also driving the Spark program. And so she was not able to join us. Hopefully, both of them are going to be able to review the recordings of the programs of these sessions and be able to provide their feedback from those. So I kept on mentioning that the program, that this is very much like your own business is and a startup business. It's kind of like painting a moving train. We plan things. The planning helps us move forward effectively, but at the same time, life happens and things become a little different from what we had expected. And that's exactly what's been happening with the program. But I got to admit to you, this is going actually better than I expected. And we've got more people involved, getting really great feedback. I'm just really pleased with the way this is happening. It's just way more work than I expected it to be. But that's kind of what you can expect with your own individual businesses. I know I'm preaching to the choir because y'all already know that. Akila commented that this is hard for her in particular as an artist, because this isn't the way she kind of looks at the world and deals with the world and that sort of thing. So that's great. But that's important for us to be able to understand, because share that with us and then help us try to figure out how we can be better in terms of helping you move through this whole process at the pace that works best for you. We talked about using the recordings to actually pause and stop and think. It's like, wait a second, I got an extra question here, and then turn around and submit that question, or just call one of us and we talk it through. We talked about, hopefully we will find ways to make something that seems complex a little simpler. And that's a big deal, because you want to be able to explain your business to people who don't really understand it. I may mention this again, but one of the things that popped up with me, I'm talking to one of the businesses, and he's explaining his business to me, and he's going great guns, explaining everything. He's going, telling me everything. And I had to stop him. I'm kind of like, dude, you're confusing the heck out of me, okay? I'm just a marketing guy. I don't understand anything about this business. So as we talked about it, I think it became easier for him to be able to think in terms of, how do I put these things that I understand so well in simple terms, in a way that even James can understand it. And that's kind of what I want you to be able to be thinking in terms of how you do that with your individual businesses. Make it easy for the person who really doesn't understand the business to the extent that you do to understand, for them to be able to understand how it relates to their lives. And we'll do everything we possibly can to accommodate you in terms of trying to make it easier. Several of you shared your plans with me and provided comments, for me to provide comments and suggestions, and I'm happy to do that. I feel like I'm being a bit slow, and I apologize in advance. I got too much stuff on my plate right now. I'm struggling to keep up, but if you sent me your plan to review or comment, I will respond and get to you as fast as I possibly can. And if you're going to send it, please still do. And I promise I'll get back, give you feedback as quickly as I can. Dwayne asked for more information on how to promote the vote. Bill's going to talk a bit about that, but let's make sure that by the end of this evening's discussion, you feel comfortable in terms of how to be able to do that. And Bill joined and shared information on the Strive On information again. We noted that October 4th was the date that we had set for plans and payments to be due. I'm feeling like I'm not moving fast enough in terms of providing support for you. I'm feeling like I'm pushing and trying to make everybody move faster than is probably the best way. So I'm feeling that I want to be able to push the date out further for when everything needs to be submitted and provided. I'm thinking that I'm going to add another 30 days and make this the first week in November, just to give people time to be able to, you know, refine your stuff, put things together, and put your best foot forward. I just really feel that I'm not being fair enough to everybody in terms of being able to have the best opportunity possible. So I'll put more information out about that, and I'll probably be sending information in terms of moving the dates to give more people room to be able to get this thing done. We Bossy Productions and Faith Hustle Media have been hired to help us promote the Strive On app so that we can get the word out more in the community, and they're working like crazy on that, coming up with some really, really good stuff. Corey Pringle, who heads up Faith Hustle Media, came up with some recommendations in terms of how we can improve our process, which I completely appreciate. And he's going to help us automate some of our responses so that they're more effective, and possibly uses more video in terms of helping to make explanations easier for everyone to understand. Again, remember, this is just a startup. This is year one of a 3-year commitment in terms of business plan competitions. So we're learning as we're going, and we're trying to improve the process as we go and try to hopefully make this the best possible experience for you that we can. This week's, first of all, let me stop, because one of the pieces of advice I was given early on was for me to stop, pause, and give people an opportunity to respond to the stuff I say. So any questions, any comments on what I've shared with you up to this particular point?
I really appreciate you slowing down. And I think one of the big pieces is I'm working on my job a lot of hours, so that's a big challenge to start a business while I'm working full time. So
Good. I thank you for saying that. And yeah, I need to be slowed down from time to time. So I appreciate it. And everybody, please stop me, ask me to call, to give you room to be able to reflect on some stuff. So this week's Go Deeper drawing winner is Tracy Williams. Tracy, you're here present, right?
Yes, I am.
Can everybody hear Tracy? I'm getting a nod, yes, okay. So Tracy, you want to take a couple minutes to tell us about your business and tell us a bit about yourself.
I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. I went to school here and as a CNA.
can she come where you are, because it would be easier to hear her.
Okay, come on up front, Tracy.
Hello. My name is Tracy Winston Williams, and I was born and raised in South Bend, Indiana. My mom was a cosmetologist, entrepreneur, so I would watch her, doing her hair, her beautician, her cosmetology, and my job was to sell the earrings and the lipsticks and all the nice, things that were there at the beauty shop. So my aunt, she was an entrepreneur as well. She had a home where she had like 4 or 5 units, a duplex. And she would rent out to folks, and our job was to clean the areas and get ready for the next tenant and invite them to dinner or lunch or what have you. So as I grew older, I started a pop-up shop outside, and people thought I was crazy, but I had to feed my kids. We had to eat. So I would load my truck up, and anything I could find north, south, east, or west in a 200-mile radius, I would go and find different clothing and apparel and shoes and, necklaces, jewelry, whatever it was that I thought, oh, this would be nice. I haven't seen this in South Bend. And I would ask folks, could I bag my truck up and put my table out and my rack and put my clothes out and sell them. And it worked out real good. And then fall came, and my son said, I'll never forget it. He said, Mom, we cannot watch TV. All these boxes and racks and clothes are everywhere. And I thought, maybe I should look for a space. And so back then it was what, $400 a month. So anyway, we were on Western Avenue across from the Goodwill. It went really well. My mom, she had gotten sick, so I closed it to help take care of my mom. So, but the funny thing is, when I closed it, my garage became a store and my truck became a mobile shop. So then I noticed other people doing pop-ups, and I ended up back outside again too. So talking to people in the community, I loved it. And my kids were able to learn, socializing and handling money and talking with people and all that good stuff too. So I would say my aunt and my mom planted the seed. So now we have Unique Boutique International, which is located inside the Chocolate Cafe, downtown South Bend. And at the store, you'll see a lot of things about domestic violence awareness, make a purchase against violence. So HOT Here Are Tears is the nonprofit, which is still a business, by the way. If anybody's thinking about a nonprofit, you still have to file certain papers. You still have to go to rules and guidelines. It still takes money. and grants for business and nonprofits applies. So what I found out is that it was community. I kept hearing community. So what we did, we allowed a space on the other side where people could come in and sit and do one-on-ones. Maybe it's a networking business. Maybe it's just a daughter and a mom talking, or friends. So we talked about to create a community hub, to collaborate and network with local shops and artists in the community. We provided the latest, fashions within that. We created international awareness, consignment shopping. We provided, a micro retail space. And what that means, if you're just starting your business, maybe it's bracelets, and you haven't gotten traction yet. So there's a space you can rent, and you could display your items at Unique Boutique International. So right now we have Spirit Song Jewelry. Her and her daughter does that. And then we have Cheryl Ash, she does the fabulous oils. And then we have a young lady from Malawi that has the African earrings and the sandals and things like that. So we look forward to building relationships in the community. So every July we have 50% off at our boutique because that's our birthday month. So what I could say about surviving during the pandemic, that's exactly what it turned into. Because I opened in 2019 and it was like survivor mode. I was like, what now? What do we do now? So we opened up an online store in the middle of a pandemic. We built resources with the community, which that means the city of South Bend came out and said, hey, we don't want to see you close. What can we do to help you? And so I'm so thankful because we connected with Business Suites, and they're giving me a business coach, bookkeeping coach, CPA coach, tax coach. So I'm very grateful for that. So See to Your Health Women's Initiative, which we had gotten a grant from the Pokagon, which helped with Hot Here Our Tears, all during the COVID. And we were able to survey 120 women about what is your awareness of domestic violence. And keep in mind, at that time, a lot of people were locked in with the perpetrator. So we continue to have meetings in our space and talk to women about domestic violence. But the Women Move Forward initiative brought a lot of awareness because a lot of people didn't realize they were even in a domestic violence situation. So Unique Boutique International, we are located downtown South Bend. Make a purchase against violence. We help with domestic violence awareness. We have things from India, Africa, Indonesia, from all over the world, Mexico. I aim to research and collaborate with different businesses across the world. Unique Boutique International, make a purchase against violence. Thank you.
So if I have a product and want to sell it, can I contact you and possibly sell it through your business?
That's the whole idea, yes.
Okay, how do I do that?
Well, you make an appointment with me, and I'm a morning person. So, because I open at 10:30,
okay, and
I like to see your items, and we'll sit down and see what that looks like. Sometimes I'll buy in the bulk, depends on how, I'll buy 10 or 15 or whatever you have. Okay. At a wholesale price, of course. Okay. Or you can rent a space, set your product up, and every month you come in and we look, what needs to be restocked, okay, what are our numbers. I keep the tallies on everything. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh, and I'm so happy of winning the gift card. Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next, actually, the winner of our 5 minutes of fame member is Ann Vole. She's not here yet, and if Ann joins us, she'll be able to share some information about her business going forward.
Hey, James, I just ducked in.
Ann, you made it.
Well, yeah, I'm hustling. There's traffic in town.
Perfect
5 minutes
timing.
of fame, 5 minutes, but I'm following Tracy with Unique Boutique.
Yes, you are.
You know what? I got in just long enough and I met Tracy. I hope she's still there.
Oh, yeah,
She
absolutely.
got her card at the Wealth Divide last Thursday night. Tracy's still there. Did she duck out? She won and she left?
No, she's right here. Tracy's right here. Okay, so Ann, are you ready? You want to be able to take your time and be able to share some information about your business?
Well, you know what? No, I'm not ready.
Okay.
I'm taking deep breaths and I heard Tracy and I'm so excited about Tracy. I'm thinking about Tracy. I can't wait. I'm gonna stop down. I've got your email. I think I'm gonna make an appointment. I want to come down and listen to that pitch some more. I mean, what Tracy is doing is just sounds absolutely remarkable.
Okay, so Ann, we'll turn around and tee you up for another time to be able to share
Please.
some information about the Sibley Center, okay?
Oh, absolutely, please, because now I just learned that I got to be better prepared.
Okay. Okay, so going forward, what we've got now is we're going to talk about tonight's topics. Okay, so again, we just got through. Tracy's got the Unique Boutique, and she just shared information. We're going to go forward with Ann at a future time. This week's topics, we're going to start with the Strive On app, and that's all about telling your story and getting votes in terms of how to be able to handle that. And Bill's going to take care of that. And then I'll follow Bill in terms of, let's talk about how to put all of the stuff that we've done up to this point together. And then we'll talk about how to be able to submit your plan, how it's going to be judged. And again, I'm at this point right now where I'm feeling like I owe you more time. So we'll talk about that at that particular point too, okay? So having said all of that, Bill, are you still here with me?
No, I went out to dinner. Yeah, I'm here.
The floor is all yours, my friend.
Okay. So we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. Let's start out by talking about, did everybody get the homework, quote unquote, homework sheet I sent out last week, or that James sent to you? Yes,
I distributed it, so everybody should have gotten it.
And so
I did.
I would like to know if there's any questions on that, what you thought of it, and did anybody use it? Was it helpful?
I used it and it helped a lot. I think that helped to, for me to look at this business that I'm starting. I mean, and stop calling it a business loosely, because I've been doing that. Because it's really not off the ground, but have things in place. So yeah, that helped me to see things more clearly.
Okay. Ann, you still with us?
I am, and absolutely, because Sibley is not competing, in that we have tenants that are, and I sent this out over the weekend. I came to the questions and did, I think, Bill, what you were suggesting from this was, to get people to engage in the questions, because the first, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first draft of being a part of the Strive On app is to express what it is that you are. So I know that I want to describe Sibley, although we're not competing, I want to be on the Strive On app for the geo-positioning purpose of Sibley was founded in 1874 with a little bit of language about the, historical perspective, but we now are engaging entrepreneurs in an incubator situation where ideally they can thrive, and then they're going to be in the competition.
Very
Does that
good.
help?
Yeah. And so I actually have a special setup for you.
Thank you. I was hoping so.
Yes. And you'll like it. Your tenants will like it. And it's available to everyone. But Anne is a good case. And in fact, I spoke with Tracy last night. Tracy's going to be a good case for this too. But we'll get to that in a minute. Does anybody else
Good.
have any comments on the sheet or questions?
I think what's powerful that Akila probably expressed is that the thoughtfulness. Bill, I think you brought us around to saying, what is our motivation for being businesses? And I think that's really powerful.
Good. I'm glad you saw that, because really at the heart of small business, a small entrepreneur, is that what is your motivation? Right? That's what drives you. I mean, that's Tom Gripe talked about it, right? He said just as much as the financial, if not more, he's interested in an entrepreneur, and when he's lending money, that's not going to give up, that has tenacity, that is going to stick with it, that's going to find solutions to problems and not run away from problems, that's going to face things and just keep trying. And you might not get it right the first or second or third time, but keep trying. So that motivation is at the core of what small business people do, especially when they're starting out. So I'm really glad to hear that you got that from this. Anybody else? Any questions or comments? Okay, so with that, let's look at, well, first, I guess let's start here. I started to do, I don't quite have it done yet, but I started a sheet. It's been a little slow going. It's difficult to wrap your head around. I realize you guys are all trying to wrap your head around your business, your plans, the competition, the topics we're talking about, and then throw in this Shrivon app on top of it, right? So, following with what I was trying to do last week with those questions, I started an outline with some due dates, and to try and break this down into smaller steps for everybody, so that each week there'll be some little portion due, and you'll find that we get 2-3 weeks down the road, you're going to have a thing put together where you'll have a presence in the app. From that point forward, we'll just work on improving it and adding some bells and whistles like a video, if you don't have that already, by a couple of weeks. So I've got the first next week and the week after. This is what's going to be due. Call it homework, call it whatever you want, but we can use the forms. I may simplify the forms too. I'm rethinking that, how I can break it down so it's not such a big long thing. I'll probably do it so that it follows this. Like week by week or something, I'll maybe break that one big form down into 3 forms. So, okay, so having said that, let's look at, I got to give me 1 second here. I forgot to start this. Get my phone up here on the screen. Tracy, I'm going to use you for an example tonight, okay? People are going to think that we planned this, and actually we didn't. This is a surprise to her. So she has her first go around in here for Unique Boutique. Now Tracy's kind of unique, no pun intended, in that she has this business, but she's also running a nonprofit. And I think there's 1 or 2 others that may be doing the same thing. But so she has it kind of, she talks about both of those things in here, okay? So she has her overview. This is basically your contact information. She has a description of what she does. She has just a paragraph about her story. You know, the different things here. She has this completed, okay? There's one thing, Tracy, that you didn't do, and that I just discovered this evening in listening to you speak. Your story is what you said tonight. That's how you started. Back of your truck, boxes in your house. You know, kids complain they can't see the TV. That is such a great story. That's powerful. That will draw people to you. That will, people like Tom Gripes see that, that tenacity that you have that kept you going. And you went from being a pop-up to having a location to back to being a pop-up to having a location again. You're not quitting. You're not giving up, and you're making it. And that's the story that you should tell, at least use part of this app to tell that part of the story. That people just love to hear that kind of stuff. That's a success story. So please, Tracy, let's work on that, okay? And I hope that's a good example for everyone. You heard what Tracy had to say, right? Now we want to reflect that in the app. And I'm sure there's a lot of other stories like that out there. Everybody, you know, it's not easy doing this, right? That's why the motivation is so important. Talk to that, speak to that, you know. Everybody, you know, comes to being an entrepreneur from different paths. You know, there are some similarities, but there's a lot of differences. And that's, you know, that's what people really, that's what they will be able to relate to that, because for every entrepreneur out there, there's 10 who've thought about it but haven't done anything. You know, Dwayne alluded to that a few weeks ago when he was speaking, right? So that story, if people can identify with you, if they can relate to you, they'll become customers. It's an instant win. So we also set up, so what I've learned actually in working with Tracy is to call this basic level, level 1, okay? And in there you have the photo gallery, and she's got some nice photos in here that tell part of her story. This is her nonprofit. She has some, went to this event. I think you have an award in here too, Tracy. This again, back to her nonprofit. We're going to work on sorting this out a little bit, Tracy, okay? So that these make more sense. And we talked about that last night. So this is level 1. Okay, that's the photo gallery in level 1. And what Tracy and I spoke about last night was going to level 2. So when you tap this explore button, that triggers the geofence thing, okay? Now, the geofence isn't so important for your individual businesses as it is like if you were giving a tour, you know, if it was a historic tour or something like that, right? But this allows us access to level 2, though. In level 2, you can do a lot more. So when I do that, you'll see, oh, I've discovered Unique Boutique. I tap learn more. And now you'll see this is called a content package. And if there were more packages here, they would all be here. But you can open this up and it gives you another level. So here we go. There's another photo gallery here that you can have 10 images. That means you can have 20 images total. You can have 10 on level 1, 10 on level 2. You can split it up however you want. My suggestion to you is either tell like 2 stories, like what Tracy and I talked about was, and we don't know yet for sure how it's going to turn out, but putting her business at level 1 and can have this package here. Okay. I added a few things here, Tracy. You'll notice there's some details here, like your phone, your street address, and your website. That was showing a level 1. I put it in level 2 as well last night after we talked. And then, so the photo gallery, right? So 10 images on level 1, 10 images on level 2, so you can tell different parts of the story. You could tell, maybe you have a business already and you start it, how you start it and all that on level 1. Level 2 can talk about expansion. If you have a nonprofit you're running that your business kind of supports or in conjunction with, you could do that. So what we're going to do with Tracy's nonprofit is on this page, she's going to create a whole nother level 2, and they can be listed right down here, one after the other. So this one's about her business. The next one, it'll be under this. When we tap it, it'll be about her nonprofit. Oops. Let me get back in here. So in here, you can have a video too. So this is, she has a YouTube video. And then, oops, I have to share the sound.
BMWS Housing is one of my businesses. HOT is one of my businesses. We're bringing business together to create a better, safer community while providing the quality of best fashions and apparel right here at Unique Boutique International. Business owners with international.
See, that's great. It's her, it's personal. She's talking about her business. She's talking about her nonprofit. You know, you can give so many details and that'll hold people's interest. So video is going to be really an important aspect of this. And it's easy to create. Don't get a production company. You don't need that. Use your cell phone. It looks authentic. It's real. You know, it's genuine. That will come out in just, you know, spending 5 or 10 minutes with your phone. You can do some amazing things. Okay, so let me show you. And this may seem like a lot for tonight, but you know, it'll come together when we break this down into smaller steps. I want to show you a different example of how this can work. Because I get the feeling from some of you have a lot of content, you're trying to figure out how to squeeze it into the app. So this is a solution for that. So let me bring it back here. I have where I am, I have a sample that I have set up just for this when I'm giving demos and talking to clients. I have this one hidden at this park. And when I go here, okay, so I discovered that station or that point, right? These are all different content. Oh, where did my phone go?
We're not seeing.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not seeing it.
We're not
Okay.
seeing.
This app does that once in a while. I don't know why. Start over. When did you lose it? Like how far back should I go?
Right after Tracy's video.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's trying to connect again. And we have to. Oh, here we go. Come on. There we go.
There we go. You're back.
Okay. So what I'm showing you, where I did is I went to this place from Whitewater where I have this sample setup that I use for demos, okay, at this park. And when I hit this station, I have a big geofence on it. So I'm not at the park, obviously, but I put like a 2-mile geofence on it. So it triggers that at my desk. And when I tap learn more, in this case, you can see different content packages. Each one of these is a complete story in itself. So if I want to learn about a cardinal, right, here's the whole package. Here's the photo gallery. There's an audio. This is just an MP3 file, so you can hear the bird call. That could be a podcast. It could be a narration. You could just be telling your story, right? You don't have to have a video even. You can just do it that way. Just record it. You can have a video. Oh, I shouldn't have done that because it's probably gonna crash out of this again. So you can have, you know, take a video just like you saw Tracy's video, right? Oh, good, it came back. And you have a description, your text here, okay? In this case, it talks about nesting habits, what they eat, their migration route, and so on and so forth, right? But if I wanted to learn about something else, this one's called Fluffy. This is a bronze statue. It was done as part of a art on the street program they have in Lafayette, Colorado. And this, there's just one picture in the gallery. They do this. There's 20 pieces of art they put on their main street every summer. They've been doing it. They're still doing it. They did it this summer. They even did it through COVID.
Hey, Bill,
Yes.
can I pause you just for a second? I really want to emphasize a couple of different things. One, unique, especially telling the story in terms of the different kinds of different sources, those sorts of things, could be absolutely amazing. Okay, Jeff, your fishing business, in terms of especially the stuff that you start talking about in terms of the techniques that need to be used in order to be able to preserve fishing in these different lakes. That was a
Hey,
big
James?
deal to me, okay?
Yeah. Could you come to the front?
Akila?
I'm losing you.
When your
James?
books, the stories that you tell, each of these areas in terms of being able to tell those stories, I think this could be amazing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Can you come to the front, James? Because you're breaking up back there. Could you come
Oh,
to
I'm
the
sorry.
front? And then
So-
the video that you're making, that the archiving too.
So the audio that I was just sharing wasn't coming through well?
It was, yeah. I think whatever you said, you should say again, especially when, for those of us who are gonna listen again.
Right.
Okay, so just in particular, okay, so I was talking about what Bill is sharing here, unique boutique, from the standpoint of she's got all these different products from all these different sources, and there's so many different stories that could be told here. Jeff, from his fishing business, and especially what he had talked about in terms of things you need to be know in terms of how to preserve or protect the environment. You know, when I was out there with them, it was a matter of, it's like, we understand never to catch the biggest fish, never to catch the smallest fish, because this is how it preserves the environment for other people to be able to enjoy the experience. From your standpoint, in terms of the books that you have and the stories that you have, all of the ways that you could break that up and share specifics about it, I think that what Bill was talking about was really, really powerful. Bill, I apologize. Go ahead. Let me
No.
stop interrupting.
Don't apologize. I'm glad to have that input. That's excellent. They're all perfect points. So stories. I won't show you this whole thing, but let me just show you this little bit of this video. This gentleman is the artist, and I'll just tell you what his story is. I don't know what happened. Oh, here we go. So they actually did, in Lafayette, they actually did interviews
Hi, I'm Pat
with
Kennedy, and my
the artists.
bronze is called Fluffy.
Okay.
It's a bronze. It's 4 dogs and a cat.
Listen,
My inspiration was I like dogs. I used the Labrador dog in the bronze is my dog. So I started with him, and then I put in the other little dogs to make an interesting looking piece. So it'd just be fun to look at.
so listen, this guy, he goes on to tell a story. So they asked during this interview, and they did this with all the artists that year, and they posted them on YouTube. So it turned out really cool. But you would never know that this guy has this story behind him, right? I was like really amazed when I watched this video. He spent like 25 years in the Air Force. Not your typical artist, you wouldn't think, right? 25 years in the Air Force, and when he retired, he kind of just went back to doing some art. He had done art in grade school, he said, and he kind of liked it. And it looks like he's pretty good. That statue was pretty darn nice. But that it's that personal story that people make a connection with very, very often, and it can be very strong. And you find out interesting things that you would never know about people. Like Tracy's story. Tracy, I'm telling you, that's a powerful story. Okay, and people will connect with that. So the bigger point here, though, back to the app, is that, oh, and there it goes disappearing again. One of these days, I may have to get some technology that works. Seems to be the video thing that triggers it, I guess, huh?
I love technology.
Okay, let me. Here it'll come. Start over.
Okay, you're back.
Okay, the point is that you can use, if you have different segments of your business, if you have a nonprofit and a business, if you have however you want to break your story down, you have these different packages that you can use that are available to you to tell different parts of the story. Don't think you had to squeeze it all in to that back here on level 1. Okay. You do not have to squeeze it all into level 1. So I hope that doesn't confuse people more. I wanted to show you how there's solutions. This app is so flexible. What I'm trying to say is there's a solution for every problem you can throw at me. I will find a way to make it work in this app. So don't worry about that. So going back to the beginning, I'm going to finish that. You guys keep working on your homework document. If if you feel like it, share it with me. I would love to see, what you have to say about those different questions and see if, how that helped. I'm going to finish that schedule and we're going to stick to it, because the one thing that we have to start doing is even if it's small steps, is you just need to get a presence in the app and start building that base. Okay. And then we're going to build it out and we'll finish it. At the same time, in parallel with us doing that over the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's going to be this media campaign in the community to let people know about the app and what's going on. So you want to have your presence there, and it doesn't have to be the whole thing. It'll be very nice just to, even if it has just one picture and it has a paragraph or two about, a description of your business or your proposed business and some contact information. And then it will build over time. And we will, that's one of the things that's going to be part of that media campaign, is going to be to, when you're using the app, check back often, because it updates. There's changes and updates all the time. So these are going to be 2 parallel processes. So you really, I hope everybody can, when I break this down to baby steps, can follow it and do this each week. I guarantee you, if you do, we're going to end up with a nice product and you'll be well represented. So with that, are there any questions?
Bill, do you have any available spots this week?
I do. I don't know what they are. You have to go to that. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. Where is that page? One second.
Trying to get your calendar to come up.
Well, I have it on my, but it's a different view. It doesn't show it very good. Okay, so I'm going to the web page where, like everybody else would see. And see, it's right here. So you go to this Strive On resource page, schedule a time right here. And that brings this up, and it will show you what's available. And this, oh yeah, there's one gone in the middle. Yeah. So that's available this week. Go ahead. Just like I did, go to that resource page, the Strive On resource page, and click on schedule a time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I will finish up this schedule here so that it'll probably just have one more week after this. But I want you to know that, even beyond that, if you want to update something and change something, I'm not saying your final version, the final forever version, is going to be done in 3 weeks, but you're going to have something you can be proud of. It's going to be a good representation of your plan or your business. And it'll look good in the app, and it will tell your story. If you just do these simple things each week, I promise you this will take shape. Okay. Turn it back over to you, James.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to
Thank-
go ahead and re-grab sharing the screen. Let's see how I can do this. Okay, come back to screen share. Okay, everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So again, hopefully this is helping you get a sense of how to be able to leverage this product and get the word out. This is another reason why I'm thinking I need to give everybody more time in order to be able to, one, get their information out there, share the information, do this effectively. I'm going to keep on leaning on the whole thing in terms of this is just a startup, just like your business is a startups. Maybe we need to give more flexibility in this in order for everybody to be able to have the best opportunity to put their best foot forward. So, so that's where my head is going on this. But I want to give you a sense of how everything is going to work. Okay, so you can submit your plans when you're ready to this address, cucbdc@gmail.com. And what I'd like you to do is when you're ready, you send it, and you're on the subject line, say business plan competition submission. The format I'd like you to use is a PDF or a Word document. When we receive it, we will send you an email response so that you know and you can document that your plan was received. Okay? So any questions about that at this particular point? Okay. We're not requiring a strict structured format for your plan. So if you've already got a business plan and you've got it organized in a given way, and that's what you want to submit, we're good with that. Okay. My thing becomes, I just want to make sure that you're covering certain bits of information, however you organize it. Now, this is the structure that when I was running SCORE in this area, this is what we used. The executive summary was the last thing that you wrote. You had your company description, you had your products and services, you had your market analysis, you had your strategy and implementation story that you told. You had your organization and management team. That's basically explaining who's doing this, and do the people who are running this know what the heck they're doing, right? And then you had your financial plan and projections, which I think is the most important piece, that basically says that here's how we make this happen. This is how the numbers work. I mentioned that at the very beginning, the executive summary is always the last thing that you write when you write your business plan, because now you've got all this other stuff together, and then your executive summary is a quick overview of what people are about to read. But again, I'm telling you, these are not necessarily the topics, okay? You're not going to lose points. You're not going to get disqualified. You're not going to be if you have different topics. It's the information that tells about your business plan that's going to be critical. Any questions on that at this particular point?
I'm sorry, I have a question and it's off topic, but I'm really trying to get on Bill's schedule and I can't find the app on the project impact. And I'm so sorry for interrupting everybody.
That's okay. If you go to the website
I'm at the website, so
and
I'm at the
you go
home
to
page
the
right there.
page where it talks about the week stuff that's going on, and there should be on the right-hand side, you're going to see something that basically says that it's got the QR code and it says resources.
Okay, I'm sorry. I see, I'm on the page with Hardy and his wife. Is that the page you're talking about?
Nope, wrong page.
Okay,
Go back
so
to the home page.
the home page, okay.
You click
That's the
home.
page, that's the page with Hardy and his wife, the home page.
Oh, okay. Click on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, you're going to see where it starts to talk about the center, about the program.
Okay, there's two links. One says click here to learn more, and the one says about the business competition.
Click on the business competition.
Okay, I clicked there. Now, links.
When you go down and you see where it says resources,
I see, yeah, click resources.
click resources. And that'll take you to the page that Bill was describing.
What it took me to, it says guest area. Please enter the passcode below.
Password is impact with a capital I 2022.
By the way, for everybody, just for your convenience, I put it in the chat as well, the direct address to the Strive-On page and the password.
Okay, I see.
Got it?
Okay, yep, I'm there. Now, how do I get to the calendar for Bill?
It's that blue. So all the text that's in blue, each one of those is a link to something different. It says what it is. So schedule a time. It's on the left column. Just
Okay,
no.
thank you very much. Sorry for
Okay.
taking everybody's time. I'm there.
That's
Okay.
all right. That's all right. You're everybody's got the same question. Just
Okay,
everybody didn't ask.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So again, these are the topics that I had recommended with regard to you just thinking about the structure for your business plan. If you don't have a structure, this is a structure you could use. If you already have a structure, we're cool with that. So now you start thinking in terms of how this is going to be scored. Plan topics are thorough and believable. So we want the folks that are judging, they're going to judge using the same kind of process that the community is going to use. There's a sliding scale, and this is the topic. They're going to be thinking, does your plan, are the topics that you selected, are they thorough and are they believable? And the judges are going to weigh it on a 0 to 10 scale in terms of how they feel about it. Then they're going to look at, does your plan, is it a sustainable business model? Is this something that can actually continue on and continue and grow as a business? Notice that those two things are 10% of the weight of the value of your plan. That's how much that contributes to the overall scoring. Then they're going to ask in terms of, does the plan reflect the customer discovery that showing that it's been completed? What does that mean? What we've been doing over the last several weeks is making assumptions about what our customers believe they need and understand. And then we're turning around and using that in order to be able to validate what we think the customers want and what the customers actually demonstrate they need. Because the reality of the situation is, I can think I got a wonderful idea and it's a beautiful thing, right? And everybody in the community is kind of like, no, I ain't interested. Okay. So everything is about, this is what the research told me. This is what I should believe about this business. This is what all my information in terms of all my brilliantness has said, that this is what customers should want. And this is what I found out when I actually talked to people who are prospective customers or real customers, okay? There's a question here, and I hope there are other questions out there in the chat. Go ahead.
So what I understand in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, I think by solving a problem for my customers that will report
Mm-hmm,
the need.
mm-hmm,
So that means I need to go to different clothing stores, geographical, how many middle-aged women that do the major shopping, geographical, I need to find out the information on, you know, are there any other stores? I found out there's 6,000 villages that's in Green. Okay, what's another store that has?
you're,
Said I need to study this thing.
is everybody hearing that? Okay,
No.
she was saying basically that she needs to be researching her competitors. She needs to be going around and finding out, are other people in the community or other businesses, what they're doing and who their customers are, and what's really happening with those businesses. Am I saying that? Who's my target, and am I understanding the competition?
What's their income?
The other piece on that is you're validating your assumptions. So you're turning around and it's like, am I doing the research? Am I doing the work to make sure that what I thought was true is really true in terms of what customers really need? And how am I finding it out? Am I researching my customers, my competitors? And am I also asking my customers and my prospective customers what they want to validate my assumptions? And that's the way that you're actually doing your customer discovery. Yes, another question.
There was another piece that I found out with that. Like if I go to the apparel show and the clothing show, and I see an item,
Mm-hmm.
dresses, I say, do you have a customer in the Mishawaka, Michiana area?
So she's saying that when she goes to different shows, she's basically asking, do they have customers, competitors? Do they have customers in her targeted geographic area? Go ahead, keep on going.
And the reason I asked that is because uniqueness has to be just what it says. So if boutique food has the same dress that I have, then it's not so warm.
So she's saying basically, then if she discovers that her competitors are selling into her targeted geographic area, and they have the similar or the same product that they're offering, then her value proposition of being unique is not necessarily being fulfilled. That is exactly the way I hope you're thinking through the way that you're focusing in on developing your business, but it's also exactly the way that I'm hoping that you will find ways to communicate that in your business plan, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that those who are reading your plan are understanding that you know the customer, you know the market, you have understood and done the work here that shows that if I invest in your business, the probability of me getting a return on my investment is high. That's what you're trying to do in terms of communicating in your plan. Does that make sense? I hope. Are there any questions around that? Because that's really, really good input and things to think about. Okay. So the other thing that I want you to be thinking about is, oh, and by the way, that piece in terms of, does this reflect, are you showing that you've actually done the work and you've done the customer discovery? That's 15%, not 10, it's 15% of the weight, okay? Now you start thinking in terms of, does my business hire people from the community? Now here's the deal. You may not be ready to hire anybody. That's okay. Does your plan show that you intend to hire people in the future? Do you have a strategy that basically says, here's how it's going to grow and hire people from the community? Does my business turn around and leverage independent contractors from the community? What you're trying to show here is that there's a commitment to the growth of our neighborhoods and our businesses and the people in the community. Figure out a way to be able to incorporate that part of your story into your plan. It's going to help. Does my business solve a community problem? Be able to articulate what's happening in the community and how my business adds value to it. Maybe it's helping people get jobs. Maybe it's a matter of the fact that I'll hire people that other people won't hire. Maybe it's a matter of I'm putting healthy food into a food desert. I don't know what the story is. You know what your story is. Make sure that you're telling that story and communicating it. That becomes back to that whole thing in terms of, what is the problem that I'm solving? Make it be a problem that matters to the community. This is a big deal from the standpoint of the people in the community feeling like this is a business that I'm going to vote for. Does the community support my plan? That's the winner. 30% of the weight is how many people in the community raised their hand and basically said, hey, look, I think this is a great business. I would love to see this business in the community. I would shop at that company. I would do business with them, okay? That's what you want to be communicated. I got another question here.
When does the voting open?
The question is, when does the voting open? Bill and I are talking about this continuously. We're hoping that we're going to be able to get it open in the next week. I'm not promising that. And that's another reason why I'm sitting here very clearly in terms of trying to think about, how do I, maybe I need to be extending the time. Maybe I need to leave this open another 30 days in order to be able to give everybody the opportunity to be able to get your stories out there and get more people signed up to be able to vote. I see Dwayne Walker. Dwayne, you have a question?
Yes, the question that I have is twofold. One is, I was going to ask if that summary that Bill put together was going to be adjusted to your time frame. So you kind of partially answered that. Now you said that that's something you guys are considering, but the timeline that he put out, is that going to meet with your? And I'm sorry, I'm walking around. I'm still at my shop. I just closed. Is that going to be adjusted to the timeline? And then the second thing is that I have two versions of my plan. One is a full blown business plan, and then the other one is more of a summary prospectus, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if the community is going to be involved in this, how much detail are we going to be sharing from our plan with the community for them to make the decisions on what business they want or don't want? Because business plan, I mean, I agree they need to see it in order to make the decision, but I'm just trying to figure out how much of our secret sauce we're putting out there for everybody to look at.
Hey, great question. Okay. Business plan, the full plan, the stuff that might have your secret sauce in there, that's for the judges.
Okay, got you.
Because every judge is turned around and there's non-disclosure. None of your secret sauce will be shared with anybody else.
Okay, okay,
The stuff that's going to be shared with the community is, I mean, think about this in terms of the business plan is my complete story, right?
mm-hmm,
What I'm putting out there on Strive on the app is almost like my elevator pitch or my pitch deck, right?
mm-hmm,
Now, a full business plan tells all the story and is answering all the questions.
correct.
A pitch deck turns around and gets people excited and enough, but they're going to turn around and they're going to want to ask you additional questions and try to put some more stuff forward, right?
You've answered my question.
Your elevator pitch is kind of like I got from the time that I go from floor 1 to floor 2 to tell you about my business and get you to want to come back.
Perfect.
That is what your Strive on is, okay?
Perfect.
And
Okay.
the other part of it is that I just want the people in the community to think, I love that. I would raise my hand. I would vote for that. So that hopefully that's giving you what you need.
Excellent. Thank you. That answers up all the questions and more.
Perfect.
I appreciate it.
Perfect. Any other questions out there? I don't want to move too fast on this. So this is important.
James, I don't have a question. I think this is remarkably, fundamentally, a whole lot of fun.
A whole lot of fun. Cool. I like that.
But you heard me ask today, could you add a week to this for the purpose that I think what, was it Dwayne just asking fundamental questions is that you've done a remarkable job with all the weeks that you have presented this. And suddenly within 10 days, there needs to be some answers. And I know that I have tenants that can submit, but they don't have they didn't follow this along. But I'm so excited about this whole dialogue, and to close it down prematurely. I think folks are getting the hang of it, and the opportunity to expand on this enthusiasm. I think, was it Kate this evening? I mean, it was just like, this is all pretty cool. Now we can't extend it forever, right? But I don't know that a week or 10 days wouldn't benefit from suddenly, however you bill, you shut down, there's the Strive on piece, but delivering the business plan portion of what you just laid out, James, is really a powerful, absolutely a powerful dialogue that needs to be had in this conversation, and it will benefit from another week or 10 days. That's
okay. So cool. So I'm just gonna make the executive decision that we're going to expand it. Okay, I'll turn around and I'll have some meetings with some folks and we'll figure out what's the date. But you got more time than October 4th to be able to submit stuff. And I'll let everybody know as soon as I pick the date.
Hey, James, I think to your point, it's really valuable to say that your potentially that $100 saying I'm in needs to be submitted. Let those that are in make the $100 commitment. Maybe that's the case.
And just move the date that
the submission date out just a fraction, because we could make arguments for making this thing last forever.
Yeah,
but,
well, we're not going to do that, but no, I'm with you, Ann.
I think you're so onto something here, that the $100 is I'm in, and then you get, maybe an extra 10 days to hold together the content.
Oh, okay. And here's one more thing. Here's one more thing that I'm going to throw out there. If anybody has a problem with the $100 and they feel that they just cannot afford it, contact me and I will see if I can find a sponsor to scholarship them.
That's beautiful.
I'm just going to throw that out there just because I'm loving the way this is going. Dwayne, you got another question out there, my friend?
Yes, I do. And I think Bill may have answered this last week, and I apologize. When I'm working, I'm talking to customers, and so I'm listening in my ear while I'm working with customers. So the question that I have is, I went online a couple of weeks ago and signed up or tried to sign up for the, to commit to the $100, and the link, I clicked on it and it never popped up and said pay your money, and I was like, man, they better get this right now,
Wayne, that's outstanding. You want to spend $100.
Right. I was wanting to invest it and get it out of my bank account quickly. And so did they straighten that out where they have that now where you can actually pay?
Where did you click on the link that was on the website?
I sure did. And when I clicked, I filled out the information and it never came up and said, okay, here's, it never came up with the actual payment.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm the only one that's done that or not.
Okay, so let me double check on that. That may be a technical problem that I need to worry about and fix. I appreciate you letting me know that. I'll follow up on that right away.
Okay.
Hey,
perfect.
Dwayne, let's have coffee tomorrow. You can hand me $100. I'll take it.
Okay, don't start
No,
anything, Sam.
you missed the part of my question where I said I was trying to get it to him quickly because I had it. I was like, man, you need to take this now.
I'm telling you, for a cup of coffee tomorrow morning, quickly, I'll take a $100 bill.
All right.
Okay, Akila, you had a question.
Yeah, so the one thing that I got out of the elements of the plan that are going to be looked at or judged, I really got a lot of vision about how to do this. So I think we need to go out and into the community and get buy-in. I guess we are campaigning for our business, and that I think I really like when you said perhaps 30 more days. I like that because that would give us an opportunity to get into the community. Now we've wrapped our brains around what this really is, and the different elements that we can put in.
Okay, I'm feeling better and better about the whole idea of giving more people more room, because I'm loving what you guys are doing, and I'm loving the idea that the community is going to be the ones who basically make the decision. So I'm not feeling any pushback in terms of worrying about extending it a little bit. So I'll get more information out there on that. I just want to emphasize some things in terms of encouraging you to think about some things in terms of the way as you're putting your plan together. I want to suggest that you use examples of having tried things and having learned from experience. I talk to so many people who are embarrassed by the mistakes they've made in their business, and they don't want to, they want to act like everything was perfect. Okay. Dwayne did an amazing job in terms of sharing some of his story in terms of his business and things that, it's like, I wish I hadn't done that, sort of a thing. That's the story that all of us should be sharing. But if you remember what Tom Gripe said from Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, he was kind of like, an entrepreneur is somebody who just won't give up. An entrepreneur is someone who learns from their mistakes. If I'm somebody who's going to potentially invest in your business and you're a one-trick pony and everything is always going wonderful for you and that sort of thing, something bad about to happen, okay? But if you've already had some experiences and you've learned from those experiences and you know how to react to those experiences, you probably are somebody who's going to be able to figure out when life happens, this is how we adjust. So you want to find a way to be able to incorporate that, I think, into your story. Please, please, please find simple ways to help others understand your projected growth. Okay, if your plan says that your sales are going to double in the coming year, you got to help me understand why that's going to happen. It can't just be I pray a lot. Okay, it's got to be, maybe it's going to be I have this existing customer who made the statement that they're going to double the size of their orders going forward. I may have just turned around and landed, like one of our clients that we're talking about did, Myers, and they're going to turn around and now they're going to distribute my product, right, among all of their stores around the entire area, okay? Whatever the story is, you want to be sure that you're making it clear so that when you're looking at it and suddenly there's going to be this huge growth, there's got to be a logical, understandable reason why that's going to happen. Please tell your story about incorporating your customer discovery. And what I'm saying is that do that little model in terms of, we did our research. This is what the research told us, and everybody with big brains is saying is going to happen in our industry. And here's what we recognize in terms of research, in terms of what's going to happen in our own region and area and that sort of thing. So I've done the homework. I understand the industry. I understand the business, but then also add in that piece. But then here's what happened when I actually talked to the people who are my customer base, and this is what they said. They may have validated the assumption and also gave you a little bit tidbit of information that says, and here's something that's also special about our area. They may have turned around and said, yeah, that's what everybody says, but here's what's really going to go down, right? And now you understand it, but this lends credibility to your plan in terms of you actually understand what's going to be happening in our area. Remember, the plan is first and foremost for you in terms of planning and managing your business. It's second in terms of how do I get investors, how do I get supporters, how I get additional customers. First and foremost, it's like, do I know what the heck I'm doing? Okay. Hiring from the community. I touched on this a little bit before. Please indicate some sort of way that you're going to be able to be creating jobs in the neighborhood. All the big plans, all the big stories, I work with the universities, I work with the Chamber of Commerce, I work with all the, everybody wants to have, we're going to bring 500 jobs into the community. That's a really wonderful thing. This is not what we do, okay? I'm really excited if in the next year, you can hire one person from the community and pay them a livable wage. And in the next couple of years, you may turn around and actually hire 10 people from the community and pay them a livable wage. 50 of those is more important to us in what we're doing than the one-shot deal that's going to hire 500 people all at once. Because this is about the neighborhood and the community. The other programs and the other projects are about the top-down sort of a thing. So this is going to be really important in terms of the way we're thinking about what's important in this particular plan. Does the business actually improve the community? Okay. What's the social return on investment? The social ROI. This is a big deal for me because this is not something that traditional business thinks about. Bottom line, profitability, how much money are we going to provide to the shareholders? That's your traditional way of measuring value and contribution. What we're looking for is how does this business actually change and improve the community? Is there something about my business that's going to turn around and cause people to have more pride in their community? Is there something about my business that's going to cause people to come to the events that I'm going to have at the neighborhood park, as opposed to having to travel across town to Howard Park? Yeah, I don't mean to pick on Howard Park, but you see what I'm saying, right? Am I doing something that's bringing something of value to areas where that something of value is not necessarily always being brought? Tell that story. Think about that. Make sure that you're incorporating that in just a line in each of the individual categories would be a really smart way of looking at it from my perspective. How do I recruit supporters? How am I getting the word out? What am I going to do? I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? If I'm you, if I don't have at least 10 people that I got to download the app and vote for me, I'm totally messing up, okay? I really want to get out there and get everybody in my network, in my social network, everybody who knows me, to turn around and be talking about downloading the app and voting for me, because that's 30% of the weight of what's going to be judged. So I just really want to keep on emphasizing that as much as I possibly can. Any questions, concerns about what I just said?
I have a question
Go ahead.
about hiring from the community. So I've been scratching my head trying to see how the business that I'm doing, which is probably more like social entrepreneurship, having to do with, for instance, with my church and with my husband, we go to a neighborhood and like we're going to take a group of kids skating this Sunday.
I'm sorry, say again?
We're going to take a group of kids skating.
Okay.
My whole business started out because I saw that there was a need. A lot of young people who I was working with had big anger issues, and it came to me that they haven't been off the block. So I want to take them to places to expose them to things. And I think that's where I'm coming from. And it looks like my business is going to end up maybe spending more than it makes. From that standpoint, I'm looking at sure, making money, but I guess that's been my dilemma as to whether I'm a business or I'm a ministry.
Well, that's important, okay? But the reality of the situation is that when you think about it, if I'm providing services and if I'm adding value, at some particular point, I can't do it all. So I need to be generating enough revenue from a business model perspective, right? Coming back to the earlier stages, the 10% pieces. Is it a real business? Is it a sustainable business? Is it structured like a business? Can I turn around and, as I'm providing the services, how do I generate revenue? You did it with the business model canvas. You mapped out your revenue streams. You mapped out all the pieces that got you to your cost structure, and you should be at a place where I'm making money, and here's how I'm making money. And then it becomes a matter of, it's like, as my business grows, I can't do everything, so I'm going to wind up having to hire somebody to do some of this stuff. those are the pieces that you're putting together in terms of trying to tell the story that this is sustainable. If what I've got is just a ministry and James goes out and he's doing really wonderful things and I just give everybody $1 SC, right? Well, sooner or later, James is gonna run out of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Not sustainable. So as you're looking at your business plan, as you're looking at your model, you should be describing, and here's how we grow, and here's how it keeps on going on. And then part of your story becomes is that, and this is how we make money in order to be able to keep doing it. And this is how we're making more money so that at this particular point, it might be year 5, we actually hire somebody to do these other things. That's kind of the story.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So here are the things, if I was you, I'd be thinking about in the way that I would be ordering the way that I'm moving forward. One, I'd be thinking very seriously in terms of, it's like, okay, so do I have my story complete and clear in my mind? Not necessarily documented, but do I understand what done looks like? Do I understand my dream space? Do I understand the vision of what it is I'm trying to accomplish? Then, do I understand where I am right now in terms of being able to go from where I am to where I want to be? And have I taken the time to be able to kind of identify the steps I'm going to take in order to be able to get there? Generalized in my mind, at the very least. Then I would want to make sure that I have crystallized the community benefit message. Because remember, the greatest weight is what the people in the community say about my project, my program, my business. So I want to make sure that somebody turns around and says, oh, the Summers Group. Summers Group obviously isn't going to be in the competition. But what is the Summers Group? Oh, wow, it's community revitalization through entrepreneurship. What does he do? He helps create businesses in the community in order to be able to grow communities and wealth within the community. Whatever the short, quick message is, however you define your thing, that's what you really want to make sure that you crystallize. That's what I would be concentrating on if I were you. I'd be trying to think in terms of what's that quick soundbite that when people think about my business, that's what they think about. And this is how that benefits me in the community. The next thing I would want to be doing is, with that in mind, I'd be trying to get together some sort of a quick 1 to 3 minute video that allows me to tell the story. And it might be me just turning around and I set up my phone and I just record me telling you quickly my story and why you should think that I'm a wonderful business and you should vote for me. Then I'd be concentrating on lining up those people that I think will be my supporters. Family, friends, everybody I've met who's associated with things that I do, my church members, any boards that I'm on, any community organizations that I'm involved with, people who think that, you know what, I do good stuff and they like what I'm doing. They may not have written a check, but they sure as heck wouldn't mind, checking the box and saying yes. That's who I'd be looking for. Then I would turn around and I'd be touching up my plan and making sure that all the things I've learned, all the things that I'm discovering, all of my topics that I've picked for my categories and how I'm organizing my plan, I'm making it as thorough and as complete as I possibly can, so that anybody who's reading it, I've anticipated every single question that they might ask, because I asked my influencers, I bounced it past a bunch of other people, and now I've turned around and I'm confident that somebody who reads my plan is going to have the questions that pop up in their mind answered for them, and they're going to believe that I did a thorough job. I know I threw a lot at you. Short period of time. Questions, comments? Don't feel bad about pushing back on me. What are your thoughts?
I'll push back on you, James,
Go ahead.
for the reason that I think that you find, I mean, to your own point with what you're attempting to do with this competition, is that almost this evening you have finally consolidated what needs to be done. That's why I asked you this afternoon to push back a week, maybe, is
Mhm.
that I think that this community is figuring out what you have in mind, and I think it's remarkable. And I personally, for the folks that I'm helping to support, I need another week. But this is pretty amazing, and I think you just this evening, I think you used the word crystallize. You've crystallized and consolidated, and to the point of folks that have been here this evening have asked remarkably wonderful questions, but they probably need another week to just kind of absorb. So that's my pitch. You know what? This is pretty cool. This is really cool.
Appreciate that.
This- really
and
cool.
I just want to make sure that, I mean, again, I keep on trying to emphasize the business plan competition and the prize is just the hook. The real goal is to be able to get everybody connected to the resources available in the community. And again, and I'm popping it up here right now, I really want to, if you haven't tapped into the influencer list, tap into it. Okay, we may wind up adding a few more names into the list, but call them, bounce an idea past. Mike turns around in real estate stuff, and he's a retired professor from IU and knows environmental stuff. Tap into him. Antonius is with the city, and he's doing. I mean, he came to us and brought us heads up on a grant and loan opportunities that are going to be for businesses that. I mean, he told us about them before they even announced to the public, right? AD and Antonius Douglas, a teachers credit union, he wants to help Tom get joined up and just, reached out to us. Adam it works for Tom and he wants to be able to help. I'm not going to go down the entire list, but if I were you, I'd be reaching out and trying to tap into as many resources in the community as I possibly can.
So James, I'm going to echo that, because I'm not in the competition, and I am playing a game of contacting as many people on this list as I possibly can, for no other reason that I'm asking, that I'm pitching my ideas and I'm getting their feedback. And these are remarkable individuals that are willing to listen and chat and talk to us. And so, you know, again, anybody in the competition, look at this list, call somebody on the list and have the humility to say, you know, you're not supposed to have any answers. You're supposed to say, you know what, I'm thinking about this, and maybe, and if you call one of these people and they may tell you, well, I'm not who you should talk to. They're going to tell you who you should talk to.
There you go.
Give you wonderful feedback, because this is just scary good, James.
And each and every one
I
of them
I
has
can't
committed
begin-
to help you.
Yeah, I can't begin to encourage enough of anyone in the audience to call somebody on this list, introduce yourself, tell them what you're doing, because if they're not the right person, they will tell you who to call.
There you go. And that warm
That's how
introduction
good-
is everything.
That's how good this list is.
Okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts, worries, concerns, anything like that out there right now? All right. I promise all of you who have reached out to me and I haven't gotten back to you, I'm going to do my level best to get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. We're just going to keep on moving forward. I'm going to pick a date that that will give you more time to be able to get everything done, but don't delay. Use that time to be able to get some stuff out on Strive-On. Use that time to polish up the overall plan. Use that time to contact influencers and get more information and make things better for yourself, and we'll go from there. God bless all of you. I thank you so much for all you do and how you're helping the community grow and how you're helping me have a lot of fun in my so-called retirement.
You, James.
James, thank you. Outstanding.
God bless you all. Have a good evening.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.